Boom! What up, ladies and gents? There it is. You feel that? Dude.
Do you feel it?
About the way we get to shift between show ideas, make different types of content. Why? Because we can. It's the power of having your own show. So let's get the show on the road. Let's get started right before we drop the heat. Here we go. Wow.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business and social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business Bros. Yeah. Dude, this song was the She's Niece. I mean, it still is pretty damn good. But that song, dude, Disturbed, Down with the Sickness, that's the jam that like would pump me up. Like if I was going to go up to bat in high school, that was one of those jams that are like, okay, boom. Or you're getting ready for like a football game, like boom. Like this is the one that's blaring in your headphones right before you get like crazy physical. I don't know what you think.
I mean, yeah, it's one of them. Fuel by Metallica is
Give me
another
fuel, give
one
me
for
fire,
me.
give me that which you desire.
And then System of a Down.
Toxicity?
Toxicity? No, not Toxicity.
Chop Suey?
Chop Suey.
Chop Suey.
Yep.
Some of the
Chop
classic
Suey.
stuff, dude.
Yep.
Yep. Get that energy going. All right. So I don't know how long today's show is going to be. Guests didn't show up today, so James and I got to kind of wing it as we do every once in a while. So boom, ideas for the Business Bros Shit Show, because it reminds me, hey, today is my favorite day of the week, SHIT. So happy it's Thursday. You know, James and I were having a discussion the other day because I was on my run in the morning and I'm listening to a book by Brandon Kane called Hook Point. And he also has another one, 1 million followers in 30 days or something like that. Anyways, he's talking about different hook points and how to get your messaging in a position where you can move your organization forward, telling stories, creating headlines, all kinds of marketing stuff, right? And as I'm listening to this, I'm having thoughts about the podcast itself, how we're doing things, where we are as far as downloads are concerned, where we are as far as views are concerned, where we are as far as our messaging and all that stuff. And as I normally do, I write down some ideas, I journal them, and then while I'm running, I have to write them somewhere. So I write them in a text message, and then eventually I send it to James, right? Because I got to write them down. So I
you don't write it down, you'll lose it.
If I don't write it down, I'll lose it. So, you know, I sat down and asked James, I was like, hey, I'm thinking of kind of moving the show into a different kind of format. Now, I'm thinking of adding some segments in here. I'm thinking of really like utilizing more of like shit. I'm utilizing more shit in the show, right? What do you think?
Shit. We need more shit.
You need more shit in the show, right? That's just what we need, more shit.
And I also like the idea of the shit show. Like that's just a great play on words.
It is, right? I mean, first of all, like of all the curse words, I think that's probably one of our favorites. Like that's the one I tend to go to. Like it works with everything. I love that comedian I saw on TikTok, and he's like talking about the word shit and how like it has so many different variations that you can use for it.
Shit language.
Exactly. Could it be a bad thing? Oh, I like how he says how he's like, if you are the shit, you are amazing, but if you're a shit, you're a piece of trash.
Oh yeah, you're the shit. Oh, what a shit.
Yeah, completely different, right? To change one word. So that whole thought process is in our minds, and James kind of looks at me after I kind of pitched him this whole idea. Everything from like how we do show segments, the way I would ask questions, the way we would break up content going forward, how we would use this to actually push towards defining more of what our goal is. And then James said something kind of profound to me, and I thought it made total sense. And it kind of one of those things like, why am I even asking permission? This is what we're going to do. But he's like, dude, this is your show. Like literally we use Business Bros to test out whatever we want for our marketing campaigns, to see what sticks, to try things out, to play with logos, to play with designs, to play with headlines, to play with content pieces, how we interact with people, and we just test the waters and we see what happens. And like Ham, so when I told you the idea, what were you thinking? Like, I mean, because people don't quite understand how often I change directions.
Like all the time, like literally every week. No, I mean maybe not that bad, but once a month there's definitely something new. You're like, hey, we got to try this, we got to do this, we got to try this, we got and when we had, you know, the insurance business, when we were doing the insurance business together, especially with our other partners, that was the kind of stuff that always drove me crazy. Just
you're like, yeah, finish this.
I'm already,
one
I
first.
have this thing working. But yeah, as far as this idea, I mean, I thought it was fun more than anything else. I like the idea of interspersing the word shit into the show on our Tuesday and Thursday episodes, because we're so happy it's Thursday and so happy it's Tuesday. I don't know why we'd be so happy it's Tuesday, but I know why we're so happy it's Thursday.
Because it's Friday Eve?
Well, yeah, that too, but during this season,
Thursday night football, baby.
Thursday night football, baby. Woo!
Set your lineups. Don't mess up your fantasies on an early
Set
Thursday.
your lineups. Yep,
Set your
yep.
lineups.
Make sure you double check things, and you know, if you want to start anybody that's on your bench,
now's the time to do it.
Now's the time to do it. Or sit anybody who's playing on Thursday night that you don't have faith in. Now's the
Or
time.
make any waiver choices that you might be able to pull off Saturday night, right? Like Sunday morning.
Right.
You never know. Like whatever you need to do.
Now's
do
the time
it
to make your
now.
trades. Yeah. Anyway, we're totally going off subject, but yeah, just throwing the word shit and into the show, especially on this particular on these days. But like I said, probably one of my favorite things that you were talking about was the shit show.
The shit
Like,
show.
because when you think of a shit show, you don't think of anything
Beautiful
good.
things. Yeah.
It's like, oh man, yeah, that was a shit show. I remember this one wedding that I went to. That was a shit show. You know, like,
but those
like
are also some of the greatest memories too.
yes, exactly. 100%. 100% true. It's like a car wreck. You're a train wreck, right? You can't turn away.
You can't not look, right? Well, okay,
The
so
bros.
So let me tell you, the bros. Let me tell you what I was thinking when we were coming up with the shit show. So my thought is simple. You know, when we interview different people on the show, we have their entire story. So I was thinking of even rephrasing some of the ways that I approach questions, right? So like, I've been really harping this week on being an active listener and really trying to listen to the guest or their stories or whoever you're having a relationship with, like actively listening versus trying to figure out what you're going to say next. And the pattern of the interview kind of goes the same almost every single time. Where'd you start off at? But I'm thinking of changing the way I approach that. Like I was thinking, why not start with why, right? Starting with why is something that we always talk about. We love that Simon Sinek book. So why not start my questioning with the why? And so I was thinking of rephrasing and using stories to kind of align questions. The reason being, for those of you who are, you know, listening to this as like creating content, the reason being is when I have segmented questions like that, when I tell a story, right, that kind of draws a picture in your mind of a similar situation that you could be in, and then I ask this entrepreneur a question that's geared towards their why, it creates a couple things. One, you as the listener get to kind of fall into the same mindset visually. You can feel the same situation that you're in as you hear what this other person's going to answer. So that's one thing that's kind of cool, digging into that emotion. The other thing is in post-production. So we have a VA that helps create a lot of our thumbnails, all the content that we're putting together. And if I have segmented pieces like that, where it's me talking, where I'm laying down this picture, this visual, ask the question, and then the person answers the question, it helps my editor on the post stuff, creating Instagram clips or YouTube clips or shorts or reels or TikToks or whatever it's going to be, in short segmented clips. And the headlines that we can put onto those clips are very targeted, right? So I'll give you an example to start off with why. So James, I would ask a question like this, and you tell me what you think of this type of question. So let's imagine that it's early in the morning, your alarm goes off, Now you have a choice here. You can hit the snooze button or you can continue going forward. You might be a little tired. You might be a little exhausted. But what is it in your life that allows you to not hit the snooze button and take on that day? Like what's your driving factor? Like I think that's a little bit better question towards a why, like something that gets them up in the morning to move them going forward. And I think as a listener, you can kind of hear and picture yourself like, dude, I know what that's like. I'm getting out of bed.
Yeah.
Like, I know why I hit the alarm,
but
there's
you were asking
times.
me that question.
Oh, no. I mean, I was just asking if you thought the question was like, it's a decent question. Like, is it a good way to get to a why?
So you're saying that you're gonna like shift your focus on trying to get to people's why?
To tell a story in the question.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? To set the picture, to set the stage as a question. And that comes down to, where we're initially talking about the shit show, right? So this is one of those things. Instead of saying, what was your biggest obstacle? It's like, dude, tell me a story, like a shit show that you were going through in your business where you made one of the biggest mistakes, right? Because those are the learning lessons that we love.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the way that you just explained it, you kind of went backwards there. So like, you set the stage in your first example. You're like, okay, so you wake up in the morning, your alarm goes off, you have that opportunity to either hit the snooze button or get up and get your day started. What motivates you to get your day started?
Yes.
Right? That first part is setting the stage. So kind of going back to your other questions of well, what's your biggest obstacle? What's the biggest thing you've overcome? It's okay, let's set the stage. It's all right. So you started your business and then you ran into a challenge. Something came up that wasn't expected. You were, going to town, you were kicking ass, you were building, and then shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
So what was the shit that hit the fan the first time?
Boom. Right. It's questions like that. It's just
setting the stage.
And my thought process in that is come up with a series of questions. The first that first question we're talking about, the alarm, those are why questions. Right. And so as I'm thinking about the segmented structure of the show, I'm thinking, okay, I start with why. Right. Why is it that you do this every single day? What's that motivating factor that's going to push you when you feel tired and you don't feel like moving forward? What's that thing that's going to get you going? And once we can identify the why, then it's what do you do? So thinking again in terms of show segmenting and ideas for the way we lay this out, what are some questions that I could ask? What are some stories that I can tell to set the stage for a what question? That what do you do? Right? Like kind of identifying the what. And then it would be a segment on how they actually do that. So how do they solve it? What are some questions that I can ask that illustrate a how process or why it's valuable to get to that point, the features and the benefits, essentially, right? The how, and then of course, lastly, it's all right. Well, how do we work with you, and what problem are you solving? Like, what do you expect from the customer at the end? So, like, kind of thinking in those terms for segmenting the show. Again, like it's just because I was like, all right, well, if I can segment the show on a regular basis, that helps in the post edit stuff, and that'll restructure some things. And I know. When I'm explaining it to James or when I'm explaining it to you guys here that are listening on the show, you're thinking, okay, well, how does that change some things? I think for us, it changes things dramatically because of overall where we're trying to go. I think with the Business Bros podcast, we've gotten to the point now where we ask ourselves all the time, what's the purpose of what we're doing here? Like, why is it that we get on this show every single day and we talk to somebody new? Why is it that we're doing that? What's the end goal here? And why? Right. And ultimately it comes down to some of the similar reasons that we started the show in the first place. Because our goal is, our number one rule in business is to be of service to others. And we've been able to do that via insurance. We've been able to do that via testimonials. We've been able to do that via Facebook ads. We've been able to do that for a bunch of different ways. But as we test the waters on some of these things and we implement, some of these ideas that we have, we realize real quick, you know what? That avenue is going to take more work than I think I want to put into it. How do we shift here? And I think that's where we're at on this stage right now. It's like, how do I continue to bring value to people? How do I continue to bring something that they want to be a part of, that you, the customer, as a client, and you, the entrepreneur, as a listener, are benefiting from being on the show every single day. And I think it really comes down to identifying the guests. Why do they get into business in the first place? What is it that they're doing, so you understand how they're continuing to move forward, how they're doing it, so you can understand implementation and process. And then, of course, at the end, like what is the offer that they're making? What is it that they're going to try to accomplish here? Where do they want to go? And I think if we do that on a regular basis, we set up show clips that we can target to really, really get a show message out for a preferred vendor. For example, if we're talking to a guest that's on the show that's having some problems in marketing, we can connect them with marketing experts that have been on the show. If they come on and they're having trouble, they're knocking it out the park, but their books are shit, right? And they don't like the way they're doing their bookkeeping or their accounting. And we're heading into the October 15th deadline here for extensions. I can connect them with those kinds of people, the experts in that field. And so really getting to understand the guest who's on the show, as well as really getting to understand what their business model is like and where their strengths and weaknesses are, that gives me the opportunity to have a better sales conversation a little bit down the road, a solution conversation, really, because we're identifying their problems and helping solve their problems. So that's really the whole idea behind restructuring and the business shit show, is to really align everything as a business, as a complete business model, right? As to why we're doing this podcast in the first place. Because a perfect example is James's show. James's show is Practicing Polyamory, right? That's a whole nother podcast that's completely different from the Business Bros. But it too has a marketing audience. It too has an audience. I mean, James, you're up to like 16, 17, 1,800 downloads a week. And that's and growing. And growing, right? And so we're seeing another growth in the audience. And if we can really figure out how to structure a podcast so that we can utilize the content properly towards a business model, then we can replicate that over and over and over again for a lot of different businesses to help them grow. And I think ultimately that's what it comes down to. So we get to test the waters, baby. We get to go on the shit show, and you might actually come along and enjoy the ride. And it might be the type of content that we needed to create, the little pieces that make it a little funner, the ones that catch your attention when you're on Instagram, the ones that get attention when they're on YouTube Shorts or whatever. They might be the little pieces that take us to that next level. Or it could literally be a shit show, and it doesn't work out. And we look at the things that worked well, what worked successfully, and we looked at the things that don't work well, that did not work well, and then we'll modify and adapt those too. Like that's kind of the whole purpose of business, dude. You were right over there, look like shadows like crossed over your whole room, like trippy.
It's a damn mosquito. It's a big one too. I'm gonna get that sucker.
Hey man, side note. Speaking of selling stuff. Billy Jean, he was on, I saw a story of his, and he's got one of those mosquito zappers. They look like rackets, like racquetball rackets. And he's like, I'm the mosquito killer. And he's just on his Instagram story, like walking up to mosquitoes. You see it spark.
That's awesome.
Dude, those look super cool, except, being around kids, they might shock each other. But the other ones were those fly salt rifles. Did you see those?
I remember those. Those were great.
Dude.
Those were awesome.
Those looked awesome.
Slow-mo videos?
Yes. A little fly getting blasted away.
I love it. But it's just salt. No biggie.
It's just salt. My problem is, like, you're going to have salt laying around everywhere. Like, after you go shooting that thing in the house.
100%.
But going outside and doing some fly killing, that ain't too bad.
Yeah, I suppose.
I guess there'll be a lot of flies on shit if we change it to the shit show, right?
For sure. This was a little bit of a shit show. I just wanted to let you know that even though I'm on here and I was hoping that we'd have our guests so that you guys could just chit chat and I could,
write the intro for tomorrow's show.
Write the intro for tomorrow. I wrote the intro for tomorrow's show.
I figured. I saw your face and I was like, okay, he's half paying attention. I gotta keep talking about this one. But it's cool. I mean, I got to share my entire thought process. That's what I was thinking. So I mean, that's the change.
You have to lay your shit out.
You have to lay my shit out, dude, and I have to give it a shot. So just a little shit shot. Just a little heads up for those of you who are listening. If you are interested in becoming a preferred vendor, go to businessbros.biz and schedule a 15-minute call with me. I want to know what your prime, what is it that you're focusing on? What is the offer that you want to make? What is the service that you want to offer? And we'll see if it's a good fit. And then on the other side, if you are looking for particular services, maybe you need help with marketing or accounting or whatever it is to help grow your business, schedule a 15-minute conversation as well. We can sit down and talk about what it is you need, and I can plug you with some professionals. Again, we've been at this for a while, 813 episodes. We've had over 600 people on the podcast. So, there's a lot of different entrepreneurs doing amazing things, and we've essentially vetted them out. They've been on the show. They've have their stories floating around the internet. You can do a little quick Google search, and we'll help you out. So chat with the Business Bro. Go to businessbros.biz, schedule a 15-minute call, and let's get some things rolling. And if you're listening to this before we implement the shit show stuff, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I mean, that's the whole idea. Is we want to make sure that we have this thing
here to have fun.
as fun as
That's
possible.
our purpose. That's our purpose. We're just here to have fun.
We're trying to make business fun, dude. We're going to talk about accounting today. I was excited. I was going to talk to an accountant, and I always love talking to accountants because we can talk their language, and then I try to get their energy up. So
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be kind of cool, but oh well. We'll move on to the next one. So
Womp womp.
all right. Womp womp. All right, ladies and gents, we're going to call it early today. We'll see you guys later. Peace out. Hope you guys enjoy the shit show coming to you later.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the Business Bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the Insurance Bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.